You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Hello, you cats and kittens, ladies and germs, emails, and can't do that. We'll get canceled. Hey, it's the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. See, these are jokes. Fucking learn how to joke, because this isn't the place for you if you can't do that. And sometimes I'm referring to my co-presenters as well. So, hashtag try not to poop, dude. That's an inside joke. If you were on the podcast, you would understand. There's a lot of working things that happen here, and you're not privy to all of them. So strap in and enjoy what you are privy to. Wrestling talk and morons berating each other. That's what we do here.
I have a question for you.
Tickle me Elmo, buddy. I'll answer it.
What oughtn't you?
Yeah.
What oughtn't you?
I tried to remember the last of it. And I couldn't.
Billy Oaten, what oughtn't you?
Ich bin Leoten, what oughtn't you?
This man knows.
Okay. Hey, listen.
Ich bin Leoten, what oughtn't you?
Fucking keep going there, dumb.
I will.
Okay. Social cues, Melanie. Learn how to take them. We have, do we have picks?
Oh, no, it looks like Ransom got muted. We do have picks for this one. We got picks this week. We got NXT to talk about, and we got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. You're also not muted. I'm joking with you. Calm down.
We can definitely talk about how what little power Poot has in his life really goes to
We cannot pick without Tom here. He will have a conniption.
Oh, that's
right.
true.
No, we're not picking. I'm asking if we have.
Oh, you're setting the stage. I see.
Setting the stage, good sir. Once again, these are how things work. First and foremost, however, our illustrious Cruiserweight champ will be along later in the episode, so stay tuned for that. But before we get into anything, we're going to do this. Casual Gaming Dad, he's a sponsor. Check him out. Sean Tischler, he's a sponsor, allegedly. Check him out. They both do things. Freaking Google them, because honestly, if you don't know how to Google in 2021, you need to, shove off into the zone. We talk wrestling. Before we talk wrestling, I want to talk about something that isn't wrestling. And I say that it's not wrestling because, let's face it, nothing surrounding this person even whispers wrestling to me, other than the fact that they exist inside a wrestling promotion. Gentlemen, my hole. What the fuck is going on with this idiot? I struggle to know. All jokes aside of the lady and her potato-like figure, it's one embarrassing thing after another with her. She's either hurting people, looking like a total disaster, wrestling worse than freaking Vladimir Kozlov. Now she's grabbing her anus and screaming about her hole. Can it get worse for Nia Jax?
So, here's the thing.
Hit me.
When you realize that you are lacking in one area, you tend to try and compensate in another. In Pittsburgh, in Clearfield, we had little dick trucks. The trucks that had the big fucking exhaust that are lifted about 6 feet off the ground that had the big fucking monster truck tires on them.
Now,
you have a little penis.
I have to ask about that.
You drive a little big truck like that, yes?
Yeah, I have to ask. How many penises? How many penises did you verify?
You'd be surprised. Anyway, no,
Excellent. Just the answer I was hoping for.
No. You're right. You're right.
I joke with you. I get the analogy, Joe. Yes. I know exactly what you're saying.
So, bottom line is, I think that she's like, okay, well, I'm awful in the ring, And as opposed to try and fix that, maybe I'll try and yuck it up.
Or she's going to go into comedy now. Is that what's happening here?
Well, I mean, it would seem. I mean, you don't just land on your butt and go, ow, my hole, thinking I'm going to be the next Vern Gagne.
Oh, fair enough. Pooh, what do you make of the whole situation?
The whole situation.
It's
my dude. That is why you're here.
It's a thing, and I think it should go away. The end. Like that's it.
Ow.
Like, it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. If she was trying to get attention on her, well, she fucking got it, but it's for the wrong thing, and now that's going to be her legacy. That's what happens when you say dumb shit in a public forum. It becomes your fucking legacy, and that's what it's going to be. And it makes me sad because she has all the potential in the world if she would just work harder instead of worrying about what people fucking say about her. Like,
well,
that's what makes me mad. That's all I have to say about it.
Listen,
Does she really have all the potential in the world, though?
Well, I think she has potential. I won't say all the potential in the world. She's never going to be a Bayley. She's never going to be a Sasha Banks. She's never going to be a Rhea Ripley. She's never going to be a Charlotte Flair where she can go in the ring and, but she has what guys like the Big Show have or Andre the Giant have, where they can move pretty decent for a big dude. They have a very imposing figure compared to the rest of the roster. I think that packaged correctly, she could be a dominant force in women's wrestling. Now, when I say packaged correctly, I mean sent to the Performance Center and have fucking Larry Wells up on a scaffolding saying, run it back, do it again until she gets it right.
Oh, wow. So you think it needs to go that far for her to go completely back to the Performance Center?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my.
Okay.
Well, if they're going to send guys like Otis and Keith Lee to the Performance Center just because they quote unquote need some work, fuck you, Vince.
Oh, goodness.
My gripe with her is that they are continually putting her. They're not helping her position because despite all of these glaring weaknesses, they're doing exactly what I'm suggesting, which is capitalizing on her size and on her uniqueness. And it's doing her a disservice because now she thinks that she's some fucking superstar. She's like, I won at WrestleMania. I won the women's title at WrestleMania. I'm a big effing deal. Well, no, you're not. You're the drizzling shits in the ring. Get your shit together. I think that she doesn't respect the craft, and when you don't respect the craft tends not to respect you back.
Oh, geez. Wow. So you are of the mindset of she's got that type of attitude that she just straight up doesn't respect.
I do. Well,
Wow.
how many people have we seen come from other walks of life and treat wrestling as, a hindrance or a sideshow? Eva Marie, for example. Goldberg, for example.
Oh, no.
So she pivoted from modeling to wrestling, and I mean, I'm going to give you two big names here: The Rock and John Cena, who made wrestling their number 2 and used it as a stepping stone to get elsewhere. I think that the story's different with those guys. I think that they do respect the craft because they were, at least The Rock was kind of like born into it. He gets it. But
I mean, she's of that family too, though, isn't she?
She is, but and so that you would think that would mean that she would have a little bit more.
I would figure it would have been
embraced.
Instilled in her, like ingrained in her. This is our family's legacy. This is what we do.
Millennials, man.
This is how important it is.
Millennials, they'd rather TikTok and fucking dance it up and Insta Snap than put work into something. And again, that's a harsh generalization. I'm joking for the yucks, but for real, there are a lot of people in any generation now that would rather try to do things the easy way and the quick way. And for her, I think she realized that, hey, I used to be a model, so I have these assets that I can still use. And rather than busting her ass in a wrestling ring, no pun intended,
Oh,
she
jeez.
is trying to, live the Insta life, and I'm not gonna say that you can't do that. I think you can, but I think you have to, really, wrestling is not something that you can just like fucking pick up and be like, hey, I'm a wrestler now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Ask David Arquette. He spent the last fucking 20 years busting his ass on not 20 years, but the last probably 5-10 years on the indie circuit busting his ass, trying to get to be a respectable person,
There's actually a really cool documentary. I believe it's on either Hulu or Amazon. It's called You Can't Kill David Arquette. You really need to watch it. It is something else. It really...
I saw some previews for that.
I watched it. It is so great because it puts in perspective the shit that David Arquette has dealt with, not just in his personal life, but from the wrestling world, and how badly and desperately he wanted to redeem himself. And I'll tell you what, watching it, you sat there and you were like, holy crap, he's going for it. And by the end, you're just like, why the fuck isn't he wrestling more? Like, seriously, it's incredible.
And so I think that, like, you can have that kind of drive, but for her, I think it's going to, at the end of the day, I really believe that it's going to be uncapitalized momentum, which leads me full circle in saying that when you're taking, she's taking the easy way out, because she knew any yuck with half a brain knows that whenever you're on television and you scream, ow, my hole, you're going to get fucking headlines. I mean, we're literally living in idiocracy right now. Ow, my balls! Like, that's where we are.
Oh, yeah. So how long do you guys think this goes on? How long does this my whole thing continue, and do they make it a part of television? Like, when she comes out next Monday, is it happening again?
It's gonna be. Yeah. It's gonna be. Oh, they're gonna milk this as much as they can, and then it's gonna go away, and she will too.
Oh my gosh!
It's going to be the deadest horse. You're going to be able to smell it from 4 episodes away. That's how dead of a horse it's going to be.
Oh wow! So you think it's going to be that?
So
they're going to beat this my whole dead horse until there's nothing left to beat.
Yeah, I think that had this went over like a fart in church, had people not talked about it, she would have had a big doghouse moment, because that was not something that she was told to say.
Oops.
That was not something that she okayed by the producers. That was something that she went out and she riffed. And that's not okay. Like, that. Wrestling is a dance. We know that, where you have to trust your partners. But you also have to believe that the other person is going to do the right thing. So here we are. Let me set the stage for you. This is like, 5-6 months of buildup of Lana getting put through table after table after table. This is Lana's big moment of finally putting Nia Jax through a table. And there we go. There's our big moment. But what happens? Nia Jax clings to her desperate spotlight, and as opposed to letting it go down as a good feels moment that we probably wouldn't even mention in the show, decided to go into business for herself, as they say, and yell, ow, my hole, which took all of the spotlight away from Lana's win. We're not talking about Lana's win. We're talking about Nia Jax doing Nia Jax. So had this not gone over, I think that she would have been bitched out big time. But the fact that people have latched on, the fact that, fucking Tushy, I think, is a brand that like offered her like a bidet and like a sponsorship, and like, the internet world is having a yuck about it, but it is, no such thing
talked about.
Yeah, no such thing as bad press. If your name's on people's tongues, then you're doing something right. So I think that yes, they will take this and they will do what WWE does, which is absolutely murder the horse, drag it behind the car for 6 blocks, prop it up like Weekend at Bernie's, try to put it through a horse show, and then finally go on WrestleMania weekend and go, oh man, this horse has been dead for 4 months. What's going on here?
Oh. So speaking of Lana, I went back and I just rewatched like what led up to that. Did you see the visible confusion on her face?
Lana's or Nia?
Yes, Lana.
No, what point?
When Nia dropped the leg and missed, like at that point, Nia dropped the leg and missed and just started screaming. Ah! She's grabbing her ass, she's screaming, she's flipping the table over. The whole time, Lana's face flips back and forth between confusion and trying not to laugh.
Yep.
Because she had no idea what was going on. Lana had no idea, as far as I know.
Nobody did.
Now,
that's what I'm saying. Nia Jax went into business for herself.
Well, you never know. Like, she could have smartened Lana up and been like, hey, I'm going to do something crazy when I miss this leg drop. Watch this. I don't know. But if she didn't, it really looked like Lana was bewildered and really trying at some points not to laugh, because I think she was visibly confused as to what was happening. Like, what is Nia doing out there yelling, screaming, holding her ass, flipping a table over, and screaming about her hole? Like, what's happening? Lana looked visibly confused.
Nia Jax was just simply proving that you don't need to be a first-year starter to be considered a rookie. You can be in the business for 10 years and still be a rookie.
Wow. So I'm just, I don't want to dwell on my hole here, but we
can't make it the whole show.
Yeah, the whole damn show. Damn it, RVD. I'm now, damn it. See, this is how she gets you, because A, we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And B, now my curiosity is piqued. I haven't watched Monday Night Raw. I can't tell you the last time I watched a Monday Night Raw. Can't tell you. I couldn't even tell you what year it was. It may have been 2020. It may have been 2019. I have no idea. I can't remember. But I can tell you this. My curiosity is piqued for next week's Monday Night Raw to see what's going to happen. Is she going to come out and talk about it? Is she going to have a match where somebody gives her like a swift kick in the keister? And that's when she reacts and reaches back and grabs her ass and yells, "My hole!" Like, is this going to be a weekly thing? Is she going to get hit there and scream it? Is she going to talk about it? Is she going to slip on the entranceway and fall on her ass and scream, "My hole"? Do you understand? Like, now I'm interested to see how they're going to, like, what they're going to do. And I'm a little pissed because I'm intrigued about it now.
What makes me really sad, and I made mention of this already, is that, like, that completely outlandish movie Idiocracy, there was, and for those who haven't seen it, it's about a dystopian future where only the absolute fucking morons have bread, the smart people have not, and morons have ruled the world and, can't figure out simple things like trash management, etc. But one of the favorite pastimes is watching a television show called Ow My Balls, where it's just a guy getting hit in the balls by various things, then screaming, "Ow, my balls!
Ow, my balls!"
We are literally here. Ow, my hole! Like, we are fucking here. Poot, say something.
I think that this is one of those situations that it was an attempt at a meme. I think it was an attempt at some kind of notable something, and it just didn't work, and it was stupid. I think if there was a comedy wrestler, like an actual comedy wrestler, something along the lines of a who's the librarian in, or was the librarian in AEW? What's his name? Help me out here. Peter Avalon. If it was Peter Avalon or Colt Cabana or Santino or that kind of comedy wrestler, if it was one of them doing this, then it would be played off and it would be hilarious because they would have reacted super over the top. It would have been insane and people would have laughed about it, and then it would have kind of moved on. because this is from a wrestler that was supposed to be billed as a big dominating monster and someone who's actually like a viable candidate to be a champion and be a threat and be imposing, then you can't have things like this. And I think, like Beef said, Nia Jax went into business for herself, and she did this. And the thing is, you wanted attention. Like I said before, you wanted attention. You got it. But the problem is you got the wrong kind of attention. Just like when you keep injuring your fucking coworkers. Like, I'm sorry. You know me. Normally, I try and give the benefit of the doubt. And I try and have the sunny disposition and go, well, let's see. There's the thing. And I even said earlier, she had all the potential in the world. Well, you know what? You didn't work hard enough. And you didn't correct any issues. And you're riding on the fact that you're related to you're part of the Samoan dynasty, when the rest of those people that are in that have busted their asses and did their thing. Watch the Yokozuna documentary. That's the kind of quality person that comes out of the Samoan dynasty and the Anoa'i family. Like that's the type of person. That's the type of superstar. You're sullying that, and you're taking it for granted the position that you have. Like, it's insane to me that she thought that this was going to be something positive. And now, of course, it's going to make her a joke and everything. She's going to have to go away. They'll bring her back. People are never going to forget this shit. And if this is her legacy and she's happy with it, more power to her. But she could have been so much more if she would have just put in a little bit of work and had a little more pride in where she came from.
Hoot, I got to correct you, buddy. I think that this is a successful attempt. Google out of my hole, as terrible as that sounds.
No, like, but that's my point.
Hold on. Again, no news is bad news.
Look, man. Look, I understand you're gonna go. I don't mean to interrupt you, Beef. I would let you go, but listen. I understand people always have the thing of no press is bad press. I get that. I'm well aware. But in the wrestling world, it works differently. There is not no press is bad press. Like for now, she is gonna have to lean into this comedy shtick. She has to. She absolutely has to. They've already, and I don't think WWE has bungled her.
Bad thing?
I think
because the last 4 or 5 years, what have they done with her? They've tried to play her up as a serious heel.
It's her
and it didn't
fault.
Work. I don't care. They tried to build her up as a serious face. It didn't work. They brought her back as a serious heel. It didn't work. They gave her a WrestleMania match for a title as a face, and it did not work. I mean, at some point, you got to start shooting some shots that are out there, man. Like, sometimes out of the box thinking is the way to go. And I don't know if this is going to work. It may, knowing WWE and knowing how they handle this shit, it's probably going to get old real fucking quick.
It is, because they're gonna go over it's like a little kid who learns a joke and tells it 9,000 times. Yep. That's what it's going to be. Right. That's what it's going to be.
But I think that she is trying for something different. And again, I don't know what her thought process was behind this. I get the feeling it's more of like, how do I retain my spotlight versus how do I make myself different? But giving her the benefit of the doubt and saying, okay, shit's not working. How do I fix it? Maybe she took a cue from Cousin Roman, Cousin Joe over on SmackDown, who said, okay, this shit's not working. How do we fix it? And now is one of the most over bad guys in the industry that we can think of. In all honesty, I believe that you're 100% right. She probably made a mistake in doing that. She probably buried herself, and it's going to have to come back and be repackaged and all that. But at the end of the day, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. So, she tried something, man, and believe it or not, it worked. It got people talking. It got casuals talking, which, anytime that wrestling can benefit from casuals talking about it, the industry benefits. As embarrassing and ridiculous as it is, and especially coming from her, Queen of the Botch, at the end of the day, it may get more eyes on the product, which may eventually get more eyes on NXT, more eyes on AEW, and be beneficial for the entirety of the industry. So we'll see. I think right now we have to kind of put a pin in this and say, we'll see. Do we all anticipate it ending very poorly? Yes, we do. But I think there's a chance, man. That's all I'm saying.
Sometimes you swing a hammer and you hit a nail. Sometimes you swing a hammer and you hit a baby. This is one of those times where you swing a hammer and you hit a nail. I don't know. There are points that you both make that I agree with. Like, I agree with Poot that this was a mistake for her. And my line of thinking in that is just because when you go down the line of a comedy wrestler, you either have to commit 100% to that and live in that comedy wrestling world. But if you go down that route and you want to try and make your way back to a serious, it's a struggle. That is one of the deepest holes to dig yourself out of, is going down the road into a comedy wrestling shtick and then deciding later on, you know what? I'm never going to be at the top with this shtick. So I have to go back to being legit. Digging your way out of there, I think, is probably one of the toughest things to do as a wrestler, like as a on-screen wrestling persona. Good gravy. I don't know. So, I agree with Poot. I think it was a bad idea for her to do this. But at the same time, I see validity in Beast points because people are talking about it. I'm interested in what's going to happen on Raw next Monday. And I haven't been interested in Raw in years. And I'm a little disappointed in myself because of the interest that I have to see where they're going to go with this. But it's like a car wreck. I need to see what's happening. I'm going to be rubbernecking. You can't look away. I can't look away from the car wreck that is Nia Jax and her hole. I need to see what they're going to do with it.
Rubbernecking with the best.
Yeah, my goodness. It's not good. It's not, so many levels. It's not good. Did somebody get kicked out of the Inner Circle last night?
Voluntarily kicked out. Sammy Guevara, one of the founding members of the Inner Circle and one of the bright young stars of AEW, has started to light his own trail. A great storyline, man. I'm really, and from the onset when we saw that Maxwell, Jacob Friedman, and Chris Jericho were going to be working together, I think we all said, oh, this is going to be money. This is just going to be so much money. And it's been exactly that. Tensions within the Inner Circle mounting, this whole fucking thing has been great. And
has there been issues between Sammy Guevara and MJF? Is that where the issues are?
Since the get-go, yeah.
Okay,
Since the get-go, like when Max was trying to join the Inner Circle, he got jackets for everybody, but never got one for Sammy. And it's just like, the fact that Chris was tagging with Sammy and they were the sex gods, and then all of a sudden he's tagging with Max now. They're doing everything right in this angle. And so Sammy's thought is that he's trying to blow the Inner Circle up from the inside, which he probably is, kayfabe. So and I think that we're going to get a good MJF versus Sammy Guevara match out of this. I think we're probably going to get a pretty good Chris Jericho Sammy Guevara match out of this. And I think it really stokes the flame for the eventual MJF Jericho blow off to this whenever everything kind of crumbles down around Jericho.
So do you think that this is a way to long game transition the Inner Circle into the vision of MJF? Do you think it's going to be, and then Jericho moves on, Jericho rebuilds, Jericho goes to singles, Jericho's role gets pulled back a little bit? What do you what's the impetus here?
So I think that this is a smart, and I'm going to make an allegory here, so stick with me. Schitt's Creek is an amazing show. And I've only seen through season 3. but it ended its run earlier this year after season 6. I mean, it is a well written, well directed, well acted show. You care about the characters. They all have amazing growth. And I say all this because it ended while it's on top. Its name's on everybody's tongue. All 4 of the main leads have been nominated for Emmys. The show itself is nominated for daytime or for an Emmy. So it's a great show. They are getting out on top. They're saying, you know what? We had a great run. Eugene Levy is one of the showrunners. He said, hey, you know what? We had a good run. I'm happy. We're going to get out before it gets stale. I think that AEW is doing the same thing with the Inner Circle. They're saying, hey, the Inner Circle had an awesome run. They've been a great heel faction. But now, with the return of the Bullet Club, now with Money Matt Hardy taking on an empire, now with Team Taz, Death Triangle and Kingston's family, like AEW is filling up with factions. I think that they're very smartly saying, you know what, we've had a great run. You guys have carried us here, but now it's time to knock the thing down. And I think that the way that they're doing it is going to make a star out of Sammy Guevara. It's going to make a star out of MJF, a bigger star out of MJF. It's going to, I think we're finally going to get proud and powerful as the LAX that we know and love. They're not just going to be henchmen anymore. I think that they're going to be a dominant tag team. I think that Hager could benefit, and I think that this puts Jericho back in the role of like a mega face, which I think he's ultimately destined for AEW. So I think that we're seeing the crumblings of the Inner Circle here. And I think it's time, and I think that everybody's going to really benefit from it.
I think that it would be really cool in this process to have Wardlow break off on his own and have Hager be MJF's muscle. I kind of like that idea.
Envisioning.
I like that idea a lot. And, because Wardlow being on his own, he deserves it, man. Wardlow's a monster. Like, he's so good. Like, and I think if rumors still abound about AEW adding another show, I think it would benefit to break up the power guys. You know what the unique thing, mentioning the power guys in AEW, you know what the unique thing about them is that they're not just big lumbering oafs. You know what I mean? Like they're not like stiff in the ring. They're not limited. They're all like wildly impressive and can wrestle any style against any opponent and make it entertaining. You put a Swolverine up against Ray Phoenix, and you're not just gonna get domination. You're gonna get an interesting match. It might be leaning towards one side, but you're gonna see them go toe to toe. And I love that about AEW. I love whenever they do choose to do, a squashy kind of match or showcase the strength of someone, it's always appropriate. It's never bludgeoning you over the head. Like, it's never like forced. It feels natural.
I love that word. I love the word showcase. I think that we need to move away from the word squash and move towards the word showcase, because I think that you can have matches like AEW has where you're showcasing one individual, but the other guy or girl can get their licks in too. Look at Ryan Nemeth. What are they calling him? Hollywood.
The Hollywood buff boy. I don't know. The Hollywood stud.
Something or other.
The Hollywood stud.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's eating some pins, but he's starting to look pretty good in matches. So I mean, and they did the same thing with Powerhouse, with Will Hobbs. So I mean, yeah, they've kind of realigned what a squash match can and should be. And I think even with Archer's debut last year, when he kind of ran roughshod through the United States title tournament, even then we still got some interesting matchups. Yeah, I mean, AEW is in a unique position where they can start to pivot for the future, where they know that we are coming out of the pandemic and they know that they can start filling arenas again, and that they know that they have a stable audience and that the audience is, growing from week to week. It's not always growing. Like this week, it went down a little bit, but that's okay. You're going to have that. But they're in a good place, and I think that them blowing up things like the Inner Circle is a good thing. Just like I think that this Bullet Club thing is not going to last. I think it's going to blow up very, very soon. I think that we see a splinter cell with Omega and the Good Brothers. But I think that I think that they're alluding to the Bullet Club enough to bring in, the New Japan fans that maybe haven't seen AEW or maybe have been away
Vice
from
versa.
wrestling for a while.
I'm sure there are some AEW fans who are not familiar with the Bullet Club as it stands, or even wrestlers from NJPW, even Kenta. I mean, Kenta is has a huge reputation, and
he was on NXT too. So
yeah, I mean, like he's a journeyman, if you will, like and his performance, because he's older, right? He's what, in his late 30s? Yeah, late 30s or so. But I mean, he can still go, and it was entertaining, and he looks brutal.
Yeah, that's his shtick. Like when he was in WWE, like that's a literal definition of a nerf. Like Kenta's always been a striker. Kenta's always been a guy, legs, elbows, knees. Like and when you're in NXT, and I mean, I think that this was like, I don't want to say before NXT was good, because NXT's always been kind of quality, but before it became the monster that it is now, he was one of the first guys that kind of came in, and they didn't really capitalize on him. I think James Storm's another one. He was there for a cup of coffee. They just couldn't find the niche, and that's okay. But I think that Kenta's the right guy, because they know that not everybody knows about New Japan, but they also know that, hey, that's Hideo Itami from NXT 4 years ago. So I think that Kenta was a great guy for that. And speaking of great guys, hi Tom.
Hey, what's up, Beef?
Oh, the Cruiserweight champ has arrived. You will all recognize.
I would have been here about a minute 48 sooner, but I had to listen to the Alex Jones song that was on my Discord. So
Will eat your ass
like corn on the cob. I'll do it. I'll eat your ass.
That song is a plague, and it gets stuck in my head over and over
It
again.
really
and it's
is.
amazing.
It's
because
so
that
great.
right there, it incorporates all of the insanity that he is, and puts it into a super catchy song that you can really laugh at.
I just, like, one of my favorite gifs is the one where he has the tinfoil hat on and he just looks at the camera and goes, like, nods going, yeah. Like, that's, it's one of my favorite gifs in the world. Anytime anyone, like, posts anything insane, I post that on it. I always comment with that gif and just go, yeah.
It's perfect. Now, look, I don't want to go down an Alex Jones road. I have two things I want to touch on here real quick before we move on to something else. The one thing was something that Beef said that I found very interesting. Beef, you said when the Inner Circle collapses, or when they do away with it or whatever, you think that Jericho is due to have a big face run? Is that what you said?
I don't know about the word run, but I think he's gonna be another, like, Jericho.
He's gonna go back to being a
mega face. Yeah. Yep.
Well, okay, so that's very interesting to me, because Jericho is one of those people that can turn from face to heel and back to face on a dime very easily and have it be believable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be very interested to see a big face turn on Jericho in AEW, to see what they do with it. That is a very very interesting point to me.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would have to do too much different though, because he kind of like, even as a heel, I mean, he comes out and everybody's singing his song and stuff. I think he's just that beloved that I think.
Yeah.
I suppose that's a good point too. Yeah.
All he'll have to do is basically change his promos or his vignettes, and just that, which he can do easily. There's not a whole lot that he'll have to do. It's like you said, the attitude shift is he could go either way very quickly.
Yep. And I mean, that's the only exit I think that we get from this angle. Like with MJF blowing up the Inner Circle from the inside, this is the only way that it ends, is with Jericho getting retribution on Max. Maybe Max, maybe he doesn't. Maybe Max beats him again and again. That just makes him all the bigger heel. I think either way, you can't lose there.
So my question, I guess, in the fall of the Inner Circle is, Beef, you see it as a complete, like, that's it, it's over.
Yep.
Like, it collapses, everybody goes their own way. You don't see it as The Rock overthrowing Farouk situation, to where Jericho gets ousted, turns to a face, he's on his own, but the Inner Circle remains as a heel faction under the rule of MJF.
Nope. And like I said,
okay.
If they're smart, they'll see that play, because, like I said, it's really starting to fill up with stables right now, and I didn't even mention the Dark Order, the biggest of them all. So, yeah, I mean, I love the Inner Circle, but I also would like to see Proud and Powerful be something other than goons. I love Poot's idea of taking Hager and having him be the muscle for MJF. I think that would be a wonderful pivot, especially if that's how. And I think that the breakdown within the Inner Circle will happen where Max tries to throw out Chris Jericho, and I think that maybe that's where we see Hager turn on Jericho and back Max.
Now, I have a question for you. If Hager ends up being the muscle for MJF, where does Wardlow go in all this?
A wonderful singles run.
You don't think they would do it just the opposite way, have Hager do the singles run and have Wardlow stay as the muscle for a little bit?
I don't know, and it's nothing against Swag Hager. Either WWE did him all wrong, and they're solely to blame for every single one of his singles runs being a flop. Because honestly, if I look back on it, the All-American, the world title holding, the We the People, I don't really remember him being the spotlight and holding a lot of attention during any of those things. The We the People was the most memorable, but I feel like that was a combination of him, Cesaro, and Uncle Zeb.
Zeb Coulter, yeah.
I don't put any of that on his shoulders going, he was the glue that made this happen. He fucking did it. I don't see that. I don't know if he has the singles run ability, is that a thing, in him to, hold that attention. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe WWE did him dirty.
I think what you're going to get out of Hager in AEW is what we've gotten out of Hager in AEW so far. Is a guy who fills a great spot, who fills a Brock Lesnar-esque spot. With him being in Bellator, and with him doing so well in Bellator, I think that, he rides the... So to answer your question, no, I don't think Hager... I don't think we'll see a Hager run.
Okay.
But I think that he could fill, a nice spot. Maybe a good
Hager run if they gave
here.
him a good mouthpiece. Like they gave Brock Lesnar Paul Heyman, and that was a magical thing. Do you think if Hagar, Mike Hagar, final fight?
Hager the horrible what?
Yeah. Do you, if they gave him a mouthpiece, since he has that Bellator, since he has that experience, do you think if they gave him a mouthpiece, he could be a legit singles competitor, just having somebody talk for him? He goes in and destroys all of Brock Lesnar?
I
do you not think that they would go that route?
Because there are way more people in AEW that can do what Hager does better than Hager. Okay. Starting with Wardlow, Archer is another big guy that can do big guy things better. Fucking Wolverine, I think he's due. So, and again, I love Hager. I think that he fits a wonderful role, but I don't think that he's ever going to be a spotlight guy, and that's okay. Not everybody is there for a spotlight. Some dudes are there for side roles.
Now, quick question before we get into anything else. What all of you guys covered already?
Our holes.
We spent a good deal at the beginning of the show talking about my hole.
Well, okay, then I can deal without that.
And
what
then
else?
pretty much we talked about Sammy leaving the inner circle and how that all kind of pans out.
Do you think Sammy would turn face at all then with this breakup of the inner circle?
Yep, and I mentioned just before you hopped on. I think that what in my eyes that they're doing the right thing. It's way too crowded, stable wise in AEW. They're going to realize that the inner circle's had a great run. Break them up while they're on top. You get a big star out of Sammy. I think that he becomes a pretty big face when he tries to challenge Max.
Yeah.
And then I think you have Proud and Powerful split off because they're like, no, we ain't doing this. And they go on to be a pretty dominant tag team, which is what they should be in the first place. And then I think, like I said, you give Max a pretty big rub with working with Jericho. You get Jericho back over as a face. I mean, in this scenario, everybody wins. So this is one of those scenarios where I think that the unlike the Nation of Domination, which was there for The Rock, they were there to build The Rock up. I think that this is a situation where everybody wins when it breaks up.
You want to know what the cool thing about this is? We're sitting here and we're booking this, and I think, not trying to say we're big brain in it here, but like this more than likely is how
calm
things
down, Alex Jones.
This is more how things are probably going to go. And the thing is, even if this is something we can predict, down the road, months, we're predicting how this is all going to play out. It's still interesting. I don't know about you guys. I'm listening to this and going, yeah, I'd watch the hell out of that instead of going, okay, okay, they're going to do this and this and this. Yeah. Like we're going like, ooh, that should speak highly for AEW.
And I think that that's one of the things that we've kind of talked about from the beginning is that AEW is kind of formulaic, but that's not a bad thing. Like, because even though we know, clearly Kenny Omega is going to beat Rey Fenix here, we got a fucking banger of a match. Like, even though we can sit here and call out storylines 2 months, 3 months before they happen, we're still enjoying the journey getting there. And I think that's the important part.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not any sort of puffery on our part. Like, oh well, we're doing this. But it's just being fans for as long as you have, and I dare say, using the term, us being smart marks or whatever.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, it's one of those things. You can see the forest through the trees, but it's like you said, it's not always a bad thing if the process there makes sense and it's entertaining along the way. Like, I don't care. I know the ending. I know the ending to Boondock Saints. I know the ending to Lucky Number 11. Do I still enjoy watching those movies? That is such a good movie. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's still
you ever heard of a Kansas City Shuffle?
Yeah, exactly. And or even watching Fight Club. It's even once you see something, or it doesn't matter. Same thing with a video game. I know how to speed run through Super Metroid. I don't care. I still enjoy it. It's the whole process of it. And the thing is I feel like in the sense with AEW, they do listen a little bit more. I feel like they listen a little bit more to the fans. Now, not going crazy, because like a perfect example is like, you can't, fans are very fickle in general, and we can be too at times. But like, just because somebody gets hot doesn't mean you push them and put them in and put a title on them right away. If you're like, oh, I'm impressed with somebody's in-ring ability or whatever, put a title on him right away. No, you don't do that. You got to do what also makes sense for business right now.
You can
That
do
would be-
both. Look at Orange Cassidy last year. He went from being on a pre-show match to being in like a main focal point match with Chris Jericho.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I said. It's like, sometimes it takes a little bit, sometimes the journey is there. You got to go through it, and you'll get to that point, but you don't always just do it right off the bat at a whim just because, oh, well, this is what the fans want. Like, it's like you still have to go through your process. Like, all right, well, you know what? We're going to give them what they want, but they just got to be a little bit patient with us. It's going to take a little bit longer than what they may want. Instead of getting it, right now, you might get it a couple months from now or something. That's fine too. But like you said, how long did we say that Roman Reigns needed to turn heel or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And my God, he's doing some of his best work right now on the microphone and everything. And yeah, he has Paul Heyman there, but honestly, Roman does more of the talking than Heyman does, if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Heyman's just there to be kind of a guy there for sure.
Which did anybody watch SmackDown from Friday?
I think I had it on the background.
So if you get a chance, go back and watch the clip. You may even find just the one part of it, like Roman's talking about like Edge, stop playing games, just come on out and give us your decision or whatever. And he's like, maybe I'll allow you to be on the island of relevancy or whatever. And then he's like, I know Edge is here tonight or whatever. And then like Paul's like, yeah, cue his music, come on. And Paul goes to talk to whoever, by the ring or whatever. And they're like, yeah, he's not here. And you hear Paul come in and say to Roman, he's not here tonight. And Roman's like gets all pissed off and he's like, why would he play games with me? And Heyman like visibly jumps. It's fucking hilarious. Like you gotta see it. It's just Heyman's reactions.
Paul Heyman is a genius.
He was the perfect fit for heel Roman. At first when they did this, I kind of went, oh man, I don't know if this is going to work. Not that I doubted Heyman. It's just that they did it a couple times with other wrestlers and it just didn't work. And I kind of went, they're going to do this with Roman. But I'll tell you what, Roman came back and he looked jacked and like a monster. He had his new Brian Griffin teeth. And he just started just being a really, really good heel. And Paul Heyman there, because Paul Heyman isn't like the advocate for him. It feels like Paul Heyman is a lackey for Roman. And I like that dynamic. It's great.
Yeah.
The best part about Paul Heyman, I think, is definitely his mind. Not necessarily what he does with the mic, because if you go back and you watch Undertaker versus Lesnar WrestleMania 30, Heyman's facials tell the fucking story, man. You go back and you watch Lesnar versus Reigns at WrestleMania 31, where Rollins comes in and cashes it.
I'll take things Heyman's you can say about Paul Heyman and Ron Jeremy for 100.
Oh boy, all the facials. My. But like, Heyman fucking gets it, man. He thinks about wrestling on another level. And yeah, he's not perfect. And yeah, he's made lots of mistakes and he's not the smartest guy in the room. But man, like wrestling and I don't just mean booking, but just understanding how emotion fits into the match. He's a fucking mastermind.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, 100%. And he's always on. When he's in front of the camera, he is always on, and not like, on as in like hamming it up, which oftentimes he does, but he's on as in he's on point. When he's in front of the camera, whether he's talking or giving his facial expressions, he's on point all the damn time. You'd be hard pressed to catch an instance in a match where Paul Heyman is at ringside where he doesn't look invested or he's not paying attention. He is laser focused when he's out there at ringside doing what he does best. The one thing I wanted to say about the AEW when you guys were talking about that was like everybody, it was either Tom or Beef. I can't remember. Maybe Poot. It all blends together sometimes. Somebody had mentioned that, we know that Phoenix isn't going to beat Omega for the title. We know that going in. Smart marks. We say that we know that it's not going to happen. But I think the one thing that AEW does well is I'm willing to bet that there's going to be at least one time in that match. It might not be the same time for all of us, but I'm willing to bet that there's going to be a time in that match for each of us where we go, oh, this really could be it. Like, oh, maybe I was wrong.
Yep.
They'll put on such a good match that we'll say beforehand, Kenny Omega's going to walk away with that title. We know he is. But I'm willing to bet that there's going to be a point in that match where you go, oh shit, I might be wrong. Like, Phoenix might pull this out. And I think that's what AEW does really well in their storytelling in the ring.
To that point, I think that that's kind of their brand, man. They take smart marks. They take the people that have watched the business for, from Hacksaw Jim Duggan to fucking Duke the Dumpster Drosy to fucking now. Like, they take people who know how things work and they make you forget. They really make marks out of all of us, and that's not a bad thing.
No, that's a really good thing.
They make us forget how quote unquote smart we are and enjoy the product, and that's the most important part. Yeah.
Now look, my second question, way back whenever I said I had two things I wanted to bring up. My second question is this, and I have a feeling I know what everybody's answer is going to be, but I'm curious regardless. AJ Styles has made it to quote unquote the big time, the big leagues. He's in the WWE. Do you think this is where, because let's face it, he's not a spring chicken. He's not super old, but still. Do you think this is where he retires from? Or do you think he sees all this stuff going on with collaboration between AEW, Impact, New Japan, all these places that he has been, all these friends that he has made, all these great matches that he has had with all these people, all these members of the Bullet Club showing up? Is there a chance that when an AJ Styles contract is up in WWE, whatever the hell that is, I don't know, do you think maybe he has one of those moments where he goes, well, I did the WWE thing. I don't need the money. I don't need the fame. I want to go have fun with my friends. Do you think he goes back?
If you listen to him talk, there's not a chance of that happening. But I think that what's happened in the past 6 months even has everybody in the back going, oh, this is like when we used to run the indies. Like, we go between PWG, Ring of Honor, and we'd run different indies. We'd have great matches. That is what this has the feel of. I gotta believe that this is making everybody who thinks that, anybody who wants to bet on their brand, be it AJ Styles, Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan, etc. I think that this makes guys like that go. I think it's tempting because then they know that, hey, I could go work for Impact, but have a great series of matches with Kenny Omega, or hey, I could go work for AEW and have some really great matches with Minoru Suzuki. So, I think that this is interesting. And we are going to see some shit probably coming up this year, if not this year, within the next few years, of people that are going to try and take the bait, and we'll see what happens with it.
I gotta agree with
Tom. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine will be pretty short. I gotta agree. I don't see AJ going anywhere after WWE. I could be wrong, but I don't think so, because I think, what was it, a couple years ago, before he had signed his last contract or whatever, I think he had stated that that was going to be his last one, because even though he's in good shape, and even though I'm sure he's doing the DDP yoga and everything like that, and doing whatever he can to take care of his body, I think his bump card is filling up, so I just whatever he decides to do, all well and fine, but I personally don't see it. But that's just me.
you know, I gotta echo what Beef and Tom said. The thing with AJ is that he has cemented his legacy. He's done so much all over the world in so many organizations that he doesn't need to prove anything. You know, he didn't win a Rumble, but his debut is probably it's honestly, in my mind, it's him and Edge. Like, Edge returning and AJ Styles debuting are two, at least in modern times, the biggest, like, Rumble moments. I really believe that. They were epic. Even though the cameraman fucked up whenever AJ Styles debuted and showed Roman's goofy face. AJ, he really has nothing left to prove to anyone, unless it's himself. And Tom mentioned he's keeping himself in good order. He's working out. He does DDP yoga. He even goes extreme, like watching Sheamus's Celtic Warrior workouts. He does like this thing where he like restricts blood flow to his arms while he's doing curls. It's like he goes nuts. Like he's kept himself in tip-top shape, especially for the way he wrestles. You know what I mean? And I'm sure he could. And I don't know if you'd see him in ring. If he did decide to go anywhere else after WWE, I think he would be more in a, you know, maybe a manager or like a mouthpiece role for a group, or in some facet like that. Maybe he'll have a match or two, but I think at that point it's like, enjoy your retirement, man. Enjoy yourself. Like, I mean, just spend time. And he's such a big family guy that, like, you know, I'm sure he wants to be home with his kids and his wife and everything, and just hang out, play some video games, maybe, you know, get back to streaming, and all that kind of stuff. So I could see it happening, but I don't think he needs to. Or maybe he'll do like a one-off appearance. You know what I mean? Kind of like Eric Rowan did in AEW for the Brody Lee Memorial.
So I like all of your points. I think that they're all very accurate. I guess the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause is when I see guys like Sting. Sting doesn't need to prove anything. I'll go one further and say even more than Sting. Chris Jericho, after WWE, had zero left to prove, zero left to accomplish. I mean, really, when you look at his career, he could have sailed off into the sunset. Neither one of those two guys have anything left to prove. They've done what they've done. They've made their money. They've made their fame. They've cemented their legacy. Yet here they are.
Right.
I'm not saying that's the way it's going to work with AJ Styles. I'm just saying I've seen other guys who have nothing left to prove and have cemented their legacy and are Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. You know, whenever Jericho decides to leave AEW, maybe he'll go into the WWE fame. But dang it, here they are. They're still here. So I don't know. That's the only thing that gives me pause on that, to think that maybe it might not be a big run. It might not even be a contract. He might just be a free agent and he'll pop into do an AEW appearance. Maybe he'll pop in to do an Impact or a New Japan appearance here and there. You know, maybe he won't sign with anybody, but I kind of hold out hope because I think, no pun intended, I think there could be some phenomenal things. Get it? That he could do away from WWE if he does so choose. Speaking of choosing, is this a good time to do some choosing?
What a wonderful pivot.
Well, before we do that, though, I do have some breaking news.
Oh,
yeah.
What do we got?
Beef will be happy to know at least one good thing is happening for Keith Lee, even though he's not on TV and not really getting any sort of, main push at the moment. Him and Mia Yim are officially engaged, so congratulations to them both.
I saw that.
Oh, good for them.
I was gonna
Yeah.
mention that, but you beat me to it. Yeah, man, that's great. He was back this week. He had a great match with Riddle, and he beat Riddle. So, it sucks that they're not in the Elimination Chamber match, and that's something that I'd like to talk about pending time. But other than that, yeah, good for them.
I feel like I need to say this on principle, and I'm talking directly to you right now, Mr. Lee. Please don't be a Carl Anderson.
Yeah.
You've got something golden here, boy.
Oh,
Don't be a dumpster.
nope.
Don't do it.
Keith,
Concrete Rose.
Fucking do it.
Keith Lee might be the most wholesome human being on the planet friggin'
Yeah.
Earth. Like,
Yeah.
legit. If that happened, I don't believe in anything anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I will have lost all
Alright.
hope, and I will be a husk
Keith.
of a bard.
He'll stop believing in
Keith?
Santa.
Do not dare steal Poot's innocence, Mr. Lee. Don't do it. Don't you ruin our innocent bard.
You
This is on you,
appreciate
Keith.
that. You appreciate that soon-to-be hot Asian wife that you got there.
Damn it.
This
You
is-
better believe it.
This is on you, Keith. Our bard's life and happiness is in your hands.
Yep.
You've got
All
the
right,
dream,
so-
buddy. Don't fuck it up.
Pivoting.
You got the dream.
Ransom had a nice
Oh.
little pivot. We buried it, but Ransom had a great pivot. Let's do some picks here. We got NXT Vengeance Day coming up. By the way, I love that NXT is not really doing just like NXT Takeover. I like that they're using some of the old Halloween Havoc, the Great American Bash last year, now Vengeance Day. I love that some of these great gimmicks and like pay-per-view names are popping back up. I think that's really smart on Triple H's part, FYI. That's my
Is this a
opinion.
Wednesday show or is this a legit
Sunday.
Saturday takeover?
Sunday?
Sunday.
Ooh,
NXT
okay.
doesn't do Saturday takeovers anymore
Sunday,
because they are
Sunday.
big time.
Excellent.
Which I miss NXT takeovers on Saturday, preceding a big WWE event, but that's okay. All right, so we got 5 pretty good matches stacked up. We will start with the finals of the Dusty Cup for the women. First ever women's Dusty Cup. We have Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. The winner, in addition to getting that fabulous trophy, also earns the right to face the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I'll kick it off just because. And I am
Okay,
picking.
No, I was gonna
Yeah.
say the champ can lead off.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
That's
go
our
right
fighting
ahead,
champ.
Tom.
That's our fighting
that's-
champ.
Well, I mean that's how you did it the whole time while you
You're
were champ,
right.
and I figure
You're-
I'll carry tradition. You know.
You're right. You go right
What a
ahead,
good
Tom.
man. What a good man.
What you
I'll try.
got, sir?
I'm gonna go and I know this is gonna be going against all the fibers of beef's beans here, but I'm gonna go with Shotzi and Ember Moon.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I'm actually also going with Shotzi and Ember Moon.
Wow, that
I-
surprised me because you've had a pretty big Raquel Gonzalez boner lately, and
Well,
that's not
and-
a bad thing.
Yes, but I think that they're going to split the Dusty Cup. I think that the face team wins one and the heel team wins the other one. And I think that GYV are heels, so I got to give the face team this one. Poot, what do you think?
After watching NXT today, I was kind of set on Gonzalez, but I'm going with Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. It's their time. They've eaten a lot of crap. It's time.
Ransom?
Oh Lord.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was slightly echoey and almost erotic.
A wonderful
it was like-
bouquet.
It
I
was
know.
like it was like a whisper. It was like a come hither sort of belch.
The dragon's about to hatch. I
Oh,
can
no.
feel it. I can feel it. It's in the depths. It's about to hatch.
Oh no, we're in season
Mordor.
2 of Game of Thrones. The
Yeah, Mordor's about to become legit here.
dragons are coming.
Before I give you my answer, which is not going to be a big shocker here, is this the only event that we're calling in February?
That was my
no,
question too.
Elimination Chamber, I think, is in February.
Can we
Okay.
double check the dates on this?
Yeah, working on that.
Okay.
All right. But in any case, my pick before even everybody else gave theirs was going to be Shotzi and Ember Moon. I called Ember Moon to win the Women's Rumble. I'm high on Ember Moon. I think she is great in the ring, and I think Shotzi Blackheart as well. And I think they would do hella damage if they won this. So that's my pick.
would also
Elimination Chamber is on February 21st. So yes,
Ooh, okay.
this is the 2-event month.
All right.
Sweet.
I think that this is finally the time to bring the women's titles to NXT, the women's tag team titles. I think that they've danced around it before, and now that they have like a legit women's tag team division, I think that Kai and Gonzalez are going to get their moment before they break up. But I don't think that moment this year.
So wait, are they going to have NXT women's tag team titles?
No.
It's going to be for the WWE.
The WWE Women's Tag Team Championships.
Yeah.
Now I get we're in picks here, but I just want to ask. This doesn't affect my pick at all. This is just my curiosity. Are they going to have that title defense on an NXT, or are the winners of the NXT Dusty Cup going to go to the main roster and have that match?
It's a good question.
Yeah. I don't think it matters either way. Like if they go up to the main roster, it'll probably be on. I bet you they'll probably have it at Elimination Chamber. I bet you, and have that be part of the show. And if anything, it'd probably be the pre-show. Sadly, but.
And I think that they'll probably bring the titles and defend them on NXT because I think that
would be awesome.
I mean, honestly, like those titles have dried up and gone rotten on the main roster. They were used as a plot device for Charlotte Flair's return, and now they're just kind of sitting on Shania like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's giving Baszler some gold, so I'm thankful for that, but it's also giving Nia Jax some gold, so, you know.
I'm not thankful for that.
So anyway, good tag teams.
Well, yeah, Poot, who's your pick?
He picked Shotzi and then,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry.
Moving on to the men's Dusty Finals, we have MSK, formerly known as the Radicals from Impact, versus
The Rascals.
the grizzled young veterans. I am first to pick here. As I mentioned in my last pick, I think they're splitting the Dusty Cup, which means I believe that the soon-to-be number one tag team in NXT, the grizzled young veterans, walk away with this one.
Is it me?
That is you.
It is time for the grizzled young veterans. They are so good, and MSK is great, but they've got a lot of legs to them. So it's GYV. It's them.
Ransom?
I'm along the same lines of thinking. Grizzled young vets.
Tom?
I'm also picking Grizzled Young Vets, but I have a question on that. So, do they get a choice of whether they want to whether they want a regular NXT or NXT UK tag team title shot?
You know, it's never been mentioned.
Okay, I was just curious because I mean, even though they are the heel team of the two, I mean, the current NXT tag team champions are old Oney and Birch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still, so they're definitely heels through and through. I don't know who the NXT UK tag team champions are.
Gallus, I believe, still.
Still? Wow. Well, I mean, I know Walter is still the
Walter's the man, but Gallus is good.
Okay, but yeah, either way, I'm still picking Grizzled Young Vets on this one.
Yeah, I think it's time to give the Devils their due. The NXT North American title will be on the line. Johnny Gargano versus Kushida. Poot, who you got?
Kushida.
Ransom.
Who's the champion right now?
Gargano.
I'm going to go with Gargano.
Tom?
I'm also going with Gargano.
I am going Gargano as well. I love Kushida. Shitty timing because I don't, if Gargano loses the belt here, I think it makes him look, like a paper champion, and I don't want that to be his legacy. The women's title could be a great match. Io Shirai, who is the incumbent, versus Toni Storm versus Mercedes Martinez. Ransom.
Oh. I don't know. Can I pick mystery entrant?
I don't think that works here. Sorry, R-Truth.
Yeah. Oh. I'm gonna pick R-Truth.
Sound bet. Sound strategy. I like it.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Show me R-Truth.
Bing!
And it's just, instead of an X, it pops up with his face.
I'm gonna go Toni Storm.
Damn you.
Thomasy.
All
Yeah, that was actually my pick is Toni Storm. That's what I was thinking.
I am picking Mercedes Martinez.
Ooh.
I was also going to go with Mercedes Martinez because I'm not going to tell you why. I was going to go with Mercedes Martinez as well.
No one's picking Io. That's interesting.
No.
Which means it's going to be Io.
Yeah, it's definitely
No,
Io.
probably.
Moving on to the main event, the NXT title, Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne. Tom.
Old Peter Dune.
I'm gonna stick with our boy Balor.
He's gonna lose the title, but it's not gonna be here. He's gonna lose to Cross whenever that match happens. But I'm picking Balor. Who?
Balor.
Ransom.
Baylor.
All right, so we have I'm gonna run through them real quick. We all picked Moon and Shotzi. We all picked the grizzled young veterans. Myself, Ransom, and Tom picked Gargano to win the match. Poot picked Kushida to win the match.
Wait. That's right. We do it that way. It's not who wins the belt. It's who wins the match. Fuck. I'm still going to go with Kushida.
Poot and I picked Mercedes Martinez in the women's title. Ransom and Tom picked Toni Storm.
I really thought that Ransom was going to pick Io because she's so pretty.
She's so pretty.
And we're across the board on Balor. Gentlemen, this is your opportunity for last calls. Drink them if you got them.
Already am, and I'm good.
I'm good.
She's so pretty. I want to go with my gut. I'm going to pick Io.
Okay.
Really?
Wow.
Damn
Okay.
it. You can't. She's so pretty.
Okay. Wow.
The only one I waffled on was the men's Dusty Cup final.
Yeah.
Man.
I'll tell you, it's not a stretch for me to swap those two.
No,
to
it's
have Ty
absolutely
Gonzalez win and have MSK win. But here's what's weird to me. On Wednesday night, they had MSK, who I thought would 100% be the faces. The crowd was cheering for Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah.
So I'm like, because with NXT, it's just like the Thunderdome. It's piped in. They have 20 people there, but it's piped in. I don't know why they would be piping in anti-MSK and pro Legado del Fantasma, because Legado del Fantasma is the heels. So that's what's throwing me all over the place here. I don't know if MSK is a heel team and it's heel versus heel for the Dusty Classic. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's because they're trying to set up MSK as those the snotty heels. You know what I mean? Like they're like, okay, this isn't our plan to have people be hyped for MSK. And maybe they're trying to kind of push it in that direction. But I'm gonna stick. I said I'm sticking. I'm sticking with my picks. I'm not changing.
I just like I wish it was more, and this is the only time you'll hear me say this, but I wish it was more black and white with the face heel here.
Yeah.
Like in the male Dusty Classic, because I think that the face team or the heel team is going to win the Dusty Classic. I just don't know if that's going to be the GYV or MSK.
I really do think it's going to be GYV, because I really think they're going to try and transition them over to NXT proper. Not that NXT UK isn't proper. It's always a good show, but I really think they're going to start pulling from that they're going to start taking people from that talent pool. Not a lot, because NXT UK stands well on its own, but I think bringing Tony Storm over, I think bringing Peter Dune, even though he's been here for a while, I think bringing GYV over and kind of letting,
An Imperium.
Imperium's kind of walking in both worlds right now. Like, I feel like they have that they're flexible enough to do that. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, you're correct. But still, they're slightly pulling this talent. So I really could see Grizzled Young Vets coming over and shooting for the NXT tag belt. So I'm sticking with what I originally said.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling the same way, and I feel like, at the end of the day, I feel like they're going to make MSK kind of like the plucky heel team, because GYV are just like great heels, and I don't think that there's a way that you can make them face guys.
No.
So I think at the end of the day, even if they're both heel teams, like GYV is going to out heel the heel team. So yes, I am locking in as well. Okay, so I mean, and like I said, Elimination Chamber's coming up at the end of the month. This one event is not going to decide it, so I think we'll be okay. We'll be okay. So, that being said, picks are in, gentlemen, locked in. Do we want to move into Stop the Champs yet?
Yeah, I'm up for it. Yeah, because we're the episode's been going pretty good, and I think we've hit a lot of very salient points. I think it's ready for us to flex our championship muscles.
I do want to talk about the Raw Elimination Chamber and that they're, really fucking missing the boat here, but we'll get to that, I suppose.
I was going to say we can get to that because Elimination Chamber is coming up. We can get to that next week.
Weeks.
Yeah, we got time.
Yeah. Even if we don't. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Stump Champs comes from our buddy, the Mid-Card Maniac, who said...
No, not the Mid-Card Maniac.
The bastard.
That bastard. Pat.
Pat.
Leave it to Ransom to get a WWE or WCW question right. Well, then quit throwing them at him. You fucking know this. You know this.
He's like the Rain Man of WCW. So that means he's like the Eric Bischoff of... wait a minute. No, Eric Bischoff was terrible. Who was a good... He's the Chris Jericho of WCW trivia.
Armbar.
Come on, baby. All right. Anyway, name all of the wrestlers who assisted Yokozuna in his match at the 1994 Royal Rumble. Must get the exact number. All right.
Wait, what? Assisted?
So yes, Yokozuna was in a casket match he didn't mention this, but I just know this. Yokozuna was in a casket match with The Undertaker at the Royal Rumble in 1994. The Undertaker heretofore had never lost a casket match and had built a special double deep, double wide casket for Yokozuna. Yokozuna was being afraid cat of caskets. Undertaker was the predominant favorite whenever the locker room came out emptied and just helped Yokozuna win. Names I'll fire off the bat. Jeff Jarrett, I know for a fact. The Supreme Fighting Machine, Kama Mustafa, was there as well.
Are you sure?
100%, because that's whenever Kama took the urn and melted it down and wore the chain.
I thought that was later.
That was part of an angle, but that's when I'm 99.9% sure that Kama Mustafa was there.
I was gonna say I would trust Beef on it just because I know he got done watching like an absurd amount of Royal Rumbles.
But I didn't watch the whole events. I just watched the Rumbles themselves. So
okay.
I have not watched this. Wow.
I don't feel like Kama was there yet. But you know what? Well, listen, just for me, for me, table that.
Okay.
Can we table that one?
We can.
Yeah.
The two that I remember from this, the two that stick out of my mind that I'm probably 90% on are Bigelow and Diesel.
I don't know that Diesel was there.
I'm pretty sure it was Bigelow and Diesel. Because I remember they were the big guys. Jarrett sounds
Diesel
right.
was in the Royal Rumble. Jarrett rode out on the casket. I don't think Diesel was there because Diesel was in the Royal Rumble. That's whenever Sean eliminated Diesel.
Well, wasn't Bigelow in that one as well?
They were, but with the focal point being Sean versus Diesel, I don't think that they would waste him as a henchman heel. I'm not 1,000%, but I'm pretty damn close to certain that Diesel was not part of the crew.
Okay. Those are the two that I remember. The rest of the Rogues Gallery that was part of that, I'm very fuzzy on.
So just give me an idea. Talk me through this because I have no idea at all. So I'm going to be again of no help. But so they had the match started. Was this something that happened at the end that the locker room emptied out? And
no,
they all came in and helped. How did they help out?
Wasn't it segmented?
No, the Undertaker was basically owning the match until the heel locker room came out and basically did a bunch of finishers on him, and then let Yokozuna Banzai drop him and do the leg drop and everything, and then stuff him in the casket, and then they all were claiming victory on it.
Well, that's what I meant. It all happened towards the end, right?
Yes.
You just said something key. The heel locker room.
Yeah.
All right. Let's think about the heel locker room in 1994.
Well, so I'm trying to think if Camp Cornette was part of this or not.
Camp Cornette. You'll get your diddly diddled, motherfucker.
I'm trying to think whenever Cornette aligned with
You'll
Yoko.
Get my wife fucked, motherfucker.
I think this was during that time.
Wife-fucker.
And I want to say that Owen Hart was part of this because Owen Hart and Yoko were a tag team for a good bit.
I feel like you're going off the rails because again, wasn't that later? Because it was later when Yokozuna really started putting on he was already unhealthily big, but
No. So 94, Shawn Michaels won the 94 and the 95 Royal Rumbles. And so 95 was the one they made the big deal about. And that was WrestleMania 12 where Shawn Michaels finally did the thing. So 94 would have been when he faced Diesel, which would have been WrestleMania 11, which would have been LT versus Bam Bam in the main event. And that was Money Inc. And so WrestleMania 11 was fake Undertaker versus real Undertaker because real Undertaker got buried. And then Ted DiBiase said, oh, hey, I found the Undertaker. He's my guy now. And they brought him, they brought back fake Undertaker. So I want to say that Money Incorporated, the stable Money Incorporated had a big hand in this as well, meaning IRS, as you said, Bam Bam.
I don't remember IRS being involved in that. Bam Bam for sure, but I don't remember IRS being involved. Not in this one.
Because weren't the head shrinkers out there?
Yes.
Yep. So Fatu and Samu at that point, I believe, were the head shrinkers. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Them for sure. Absolutely, Jarrett, because Beef was right. Jarrett was on the casket. Bam Bam for sure. He was there. Oh, boy. I want to side with Poot Poot, you said Diesel, right?
Yes. Those two.
I want to side with Poot and say that Diesel was involved as well.
Because it
So that's 5.
those two are the ones that I just remember jumping out of me because it's one of those things that you went, oh shit, they're pulling out the big guns to stop the Undertaker.
Yeah. I remember being confused as to why Diesel at the time. Like whenever I watched it, it wasn't when it aired. I rewatched it again, but I can remember thinking, why Diesel? Shouldn't he be like a bigger deal than to be involved in this with these other guys? But he was definitely there.
Being involved, like I said, I love things like this because I get to use the term rogues gallery.
Wait a minute.
What?
Go on.
So if my timeline is correct, and it may not be, I don't know.
Whoa, what was that?
Yeah. Poot, is that you?
What?
I think that it. I don't know.
What,
we
what,
got
what,
a
what?
hot mic. I just heard this.
Yeah, I heard some like staticky, hissy.
I heard nothing on the recording. I got nothing.
Oh.
Literally, I'm looking at the waveform. I got nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Moments.
all right. So WrestleMania 11. I'm correct in saying that. Now, Ransom, you're my Michaels guy.
Yep.
I'm correct in saying that Michaels won 94, 95 back to back, right?
94, 95, 90. Wait. You mean Rumbles?
94,
Yes.
95. Wait.
Who won 96?
That was Michaels, wasn't it?
Wasn't Michaels
No.
95? No, wait.
Oh,
wasn't
was he?
Michaels 96, 90? No.
No.
Hold on. Wasn't Michaels 95, 96, and Austin was 97, 98?
I believe.
Yeah.
I thought Michaels won them
What?
back-to-back, and then after Michaels, Austin won his back-to-back. And his second one that he won was 98, because
So
that's
then
one of my
this would
favorite
put it-
Rumbles, and that's when he went on to face Michaels for the title.
So then this would put it back a year then. So then 94 would have been the Luger Brett ending.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then that helps me recalibrate. So then Undertaker versus Undertaker happened at WrestleMania 10, which sounds right. Okay. Sorry, I just had to recalibrate there because
So Diesel very well could have been a part
probably
of it.
there. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so far,
So at this
just to
point,
run
Diesel
this
was
list.
part of the rabble. So yes, I think Diesel probably was there. Crush, I think was there. 100%.
Crush. Nice.
Crush.
Yeah, Crush would have been there.
With the
yeah,
face
that
paint,
sounds
yep.
right.
Okay,
Oh,
so
face paint Crush.
wait, face paint Crush was heel? I thought face paint.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh
oh,
yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because-
I'm sorry, that's right. No.
So now I'm thinking who were the main players in WrestleMania 10 bad guy wise. Crush was because he faced Randy Savage. Owen because he faced Brett. Earthquake was supposed to face Adam Bomb. Was Adam Bomb there?
Adam Bomb was there.
Oh, yeah,
Adam
he
Bomb
might
was
have been.
there.
Yeah, he might have been there. Yep.
All
Where
right,
do we
all-
land on Owen, by the way?
I
No.
don't think Owen was there, man.
Okay.
I think Owen wasn't Owen involved.
He
with
was
the
faffing
one
around with
that-
Bret Hart because he beat Bret Hart at WrestleMania 10.
This is okay. Okay, no.
Wasn't-
So
yeah,
Owen,
wait.
Owen,
Owen was
Owen and
involved with
Bret
the
had
one
a
with
tag
Chuck
team
Norris.
title match. Owen and Bret had a tag team title match prior in the night, and that's why Bret almost didn't make it to the Royal Rumble because his knee was screwed up, and Owen Hart walked out on him during that tag team match. So yes, Owen was not there. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Wasn't Owen there whenever they had their rematch and Chuck Norris showed up?
Probably.
I think Owen was involved in that one, but not this one. Adam
Okay.
Bomb was. Crush
So then
was.
Kama Mustafa maybe too soon then too.
I
I don't think he was involved in this either.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
think that
I'm
was
taking him off.
I think that was 95. 95,
You're right.
96.
That would have been the next one.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're right.
so,
That was the Chuck Norris one.
Right.
so far with this particular event, we've got Jarrett for sure.
Bigelow, Fatu, Samu, Diesel, Crush, Adam Bomb. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Now, I don't know if he counts, but Fuji was always out there with Yokozuna, and Fuji was always involved in Yokozuna's matches.
Right. So we'll
Is
put it.
he counted as one of these?
I'd put him in there for safety. But then again, if we
Same.
overshoot,
Well, and again, like this is one of those gray area things where
Well, let me ask you this though: How did he phrase the question again? Read me the question.
Name all the wrestlers who assisted
Okay, that's
Yokozuna in his match.
He wasn't a wrestler at the time. He
Okay.
was a manager. So if that bastard Pat puts Mr. Fuji in there, I'm going to call shenanigans on that because
Okay.
Fuji was a manager, not a wrestler.
Okay. All
now,
right.
weren't there two other Japanese people involved in this? And I can't, for the life of me, remember who they were.
Was it
Haku?
No, it wasn't Haku.
No.
Haku?
Hakushi?
No.
Or was it too early for Hakushi?
No, I don't think it was him. I know what you're talking about, though.
Japanese people.
Was Kabuki? Was he one? The Great Kabuki?
The Great Kabuki!
Okay.
He would have been one, and there was some other Japanese wrestler, and
I
for the
forgot
life
about
of me,
him.
his name escapes me. Because when I watched that, I wasn't familiar with either one of those two. I wasn't familiar with the Kabuki or the other one.
Tenchi? Was it Tenchi? Why am I thinking
I have no idea who that
Tenchi?
is.
Ten. No, I don't.
And you think that they were there to help Yoko beat Undertaker?
Oh,
Yes.
well, yeah, because kayfabe Yokozuna was Japanese.
Yeah, right.
I don't remember those.
Oof.
Oh,
I couldn't even hazard the guess as to the name.
Man.
Tenchi, was that a name? I don't know. I have no idea. But I remember two, Japanese guys. Whether they were Japanese
Not
or Korean, I don't
Tenzin,
remember.
is it? Not Tenzin? Okay.
Kabuki was one. The other one, I don't know.
Not
Kabuki.
Tensai.
Kabuki
what do you
makes
look like?
sense.
Tenru,
not- it's not-
Tenbu.
Tenru.
What?
That's a name.
Tenru.
That is a name that I recognize immediately.
I was gonna say it's not Tenchu. That's Stealth Assassins, and that's a shitty PS1 game.
Oh,
Fuck that
okay.
game. Yeah.
I'm spitballing things that sound like things.
And it's
No,
not-
Tenru.
and
Tenru's
it's not-
definitely a name
And
of a
it's not Lord
Japanese wrestler.
Tensai.
Yes, we know that.
Oh, Tensai.
Oh, Lord Tensai.
So Tenru is definitely a
Albert.
Japanese wrestler, and I
Tenru.
want to say that he definitely
Tenru?
showed up on
You said?
WWE at some point.
You
Tenru.
said Tenru? So,
Tenru.
okay. Let's just spit, but because Ransom going off the idea that he said there were other Japanese wrestlers out there. You said the Great Kabuki? Right?
Yeah, I'm going to say that he was one of them.
And then what?
Because really, he's the only other Japanese wrestler that I
Tenru.
knew of at that time.
Tenru would be the other guy.
Okay, so who do we have right now? How many do we have?
Jarrett, Bigelow, Fatu, Samu, Diesel, Crush, Atom Bomb, Kabuki, Tenru. That's 1, 2, 3,
9.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, including. And we'll mention this because we don't know where Pat's mind is, but if Fuji's obviously in there, and Alpha was definitely with the Head Shrinkers.
Fuji and Alpha as being asterisks.
So we're
there.
putting them in parentheses, featuring.
Yeah. Was Alpha a wrestler at the time, or was he
No,
just
he was a manager.
He was a
Okay,
manager.
yeah. I'm going to say that if Pat counts managers, and I call shenanigans, because he didn't say name all the people involved
He said
in interfering. He said
wrestlers.
wrestlers. So I'm going to count wrestlers and not managers.
I think that might be it.
That sounds like plenty. I
Bigelow,
mean,
Jarrett, Fatu, Samu, Diesel, Crush, Atom Bomb, Kabuki, Tenru. That's 9.
All right, so not Owen,
Not Owen, not IRS.
not IRS.
No,
Was there another one that we nodded? Oh, not comma.
not comma.
not comma. No.
Listen,
Don't.
Honestly, though,
How?
I think IRS and comma and Owen all might have been involved in the rematch when it was Chuck Norris showing up to save
which
the day.
was Survivor Series 94. So
Yeah.
about 8 months later, and that's probably why I keep getting shades of IRS in my head. Because
I know you.
feeling some kind of way about IRS.
I don't. Dude,
He
I
wasn't
don't.
involved with both. He was definitely involved in the Chuck Norris one.
Also,
Okay, so
wasn't
he's
that
still-
correct me if I'm wrong? That was also I understand he was at Survivor Series a time later, but wasn't that also getting close to the end of IRS's run with WWE?
No, because the money incorporated, like the stable still hadn't happened.
Oh, he didn't show up in WCW as Wall Street until like what 98, 97?
Oh yeah, not for
Okay,
a while.
like
I'm way
97,
ahead of
there was-
myself. I'm way ahead of
because
myself.
he was still part of the stable with Nikolai and Tatanka and Bam Bam.
Part
and
of the
all
stable,
that.
part of the crew.
Which came first, the tag team or the stable?
The tag team.
Okay, I thought so. Anyways,
Yep.
okay.
All right, so are we confident in saying 9, and those are our 9?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I feel pretty confident about that.
I'm going to take your lead on the Japanese guy there, B. That you said it was 10.
The name
Tenru.
Tenru
fine.
just struck a chord with me. And Poot, I think Poot felt it the same time I did when you said it.
Because I was thinking
Like-
Tenchi, and I was like, that's not right, because that's something else. But I was like,
Okay.
it was...
And I'm gonna throw. I'm sorry. I'm gonna throw the caveat saying, in parentheses, the managers there, but I don't say that they count as the 9. So
All right, so Pat says, I may retire after this question. You are all too good. Still willing to sub in if you need them available, though. There are 9 total wrestlers.
oh fuck.
Among
got
them
it.
were Bam Bam, Atom Bomb, Samu, Fatu, Crush, The Great Kabuki, Genichiro Terry, Jeff Jarrett, and Diesel. So we flubbed the name.
Wait, what?
The name
Genichiro Terry,
was Genichiro Terry.
Let me...
not Tenru.
Listen,
So we flubbed the name.
Genichiro...
Look his name up.
I'm going to look. Since we've answered, can we fact check ourselves? Are we allowed
Sure.
to do that? Since we have committed to an answer?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Beef read out the answer already. So,
Genichiro
yeah.
Terry? That just sounds weird.
Did
Let
we
me
get
look.
the rest of them, Beef?
That was WWF. What was this? This was
Oh yeah,
Rumble?
we got the rest. Of
Tenru.
them.
It was fucking Genichiro Tenru. Yep, I typed it in and it came right fucking up. It is Tenru.
Oh, okay.
Oh, fucking heart sank there for a minute.
So did we get the rest?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we nailed all the rest of them.
Okay, so we got them all. We got all 9.
So he flubbed the name.
He did.
Oh,
Yep,
in
it's
his
probably
retirement
autocorrect.
match.
Yeah, it was probably autocorrect.
Yeah.
Because Tenru
you
is the
bastard Pat.
mid-card maniac.
Get close.
We love your
Real
participation,
close.
brother. And if you retire as one of the great ones, buddy.
The only one.
But on this day, sir,
Oh no.
we bid you a good day because you lose, sir. You get nothing.
Oh,
Oh, guys,
that's fantastic.
listen,
Much like Frieza, if there was ever going to be an anime made of Beef's life, Beef would definitely be voiced by a woman.
listen. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. It would be absolutely the most delicious poetic justice if Pat, that bastard Pat, retires and then the next person who asks us a question gets it. It would be
Zack Snyder.
it would be the most poetic thing in the world.
Where's Texas
So,
Where are you, Zach?
listen, here's the thing, man. If the mid-card maniac is retiring and if he's going out in the sword, listen, somebody else got to step up because we got to get these questions in.
Heat? Or
You know the email, pittsburghpiledriverpodcast@gmail.com. 2 emails, one with the question, one with the answer. On the answer one, put a couple sentences in there so it doesn't pop up in my preview. Be the one in 1,575,001.
Now, listen, also, I have to say, I'm not going to name names here, but if the information that we received one Tuesday night is accurate, there is at least one indie wrestler who has listened to at least one of our podcasts who I feel like probably could have a really decent amount of wrestling history stuck in his head. So if you're listening to this one, if you do just so happen to pop in and listen to this, you know who you are, you know how you're connected to us, I'm not going to say how. I'm not going to out anybody.
I'm going to
Why
ask
don't you
after
give
the
it a
recording. I'm going to ask after the recording because I have a suspicion.
Why don't you give it a shot? Because I'm willing to bet you don't even have to use your indie wrestler name. You can use a fake name like who was the guy that did X-Men?
Paul Jenkins.
Nope.
That's
Brian
Singer.
Jenkins.
Yeah, use a pseudonym like Brian Singer. Maybe Brian Singer of the X-Men can stump us when Zack Snyder of DC can't do it. But Mr. Indie Wrestler, if you're listening, send something in because I bet you could do it.
Or here's another thought too. Something we haven't done in a while is pit each other against each other.
Ooh, we
in some
haven't done hot
trivia.
tag trivia.
Yeah, we kind of got away with that with the stump the chumps / stump the champs. So if
That's true.
if we have just fucking stomped all over the soul of that bastard Pat, the mid-card maniac, and he calls it quits, I think we just go back to berating one another with trivia questions.
I mean, in all honesty, man, that was a great question. It's
That
just
was.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
like, again, Ransom's mind with these things is like a steel trap, and we got there because, again, like my limited knowledge of Japanese wrestling and his just throwing words out there, a word potato soup became, hey, we win.
No, but see, this is why, like, we work, is because we go, here's our certainties, put it in place. We go, where does this fall in history? Where does this? And then beef throughout, the heel locker room. Okay, who was in the heel locker room? We went, Kama was too, like, we sussed it out. Like, it absolutely was true. In the truest sense of the term. And that's how we work. Because, again, if it was myself and Beef, we probably would have said Owen Hart,
IRS, Kama Mustafa.
Mustafa, Aldo Montoya. Like, we would have, like, thrown
I'd
out.
have been way off the reservation.
Oh, yeah, I would have too.
Just a heads up for anybody going to be sending questions. If you're going to be trying to send WrestleMania-related questions, please feel free. But also, please keep in mind that we are in my wheelhouse, which is WrestleMania season, which means I begin my WrestleMania watching this weekend. Starting at the bottom, getting to the top. So if you want to try and throw me, throw us, but particularly me, ask me a question about a late WrestleMania now and an early WrestleMania later.
So in case Captain DC and the Mid-Card Maniac are out, Vapor doesn't make a second appearance, and our indie connection falls through, let's just say this. This week, well, from today up until next Thursday, let's all get a hot tag trivia question in the hopper, just so we have it, so we're not scrambling at the last minute. If we have a Stump the Champs, we'll do that, and we'll save the questions that we come up with for a time where we don't have Stump the Champs. But let's get one rolling that we can ask just in case. That way we're not scrambling at the last minute to do it.
And I'll keep you guys. I'll keep you guys on the know. I watched the email, so I'll be watching and I will be waiting. And you want to hear my sultry voice tell you that you too lose and get nothing.
Yes.
Now I will say this. Why don't we do, before I do our outro, why don't we call our shot just in case if we don't get another question for Stump the Champs, and we do resort to hot tag trivia. Poop. Why don't we call our shot now and say who we're going to ask our questions to?
Ooh.
Good thinking.
Champ,
Lincoln.
you get to lead us off. Who you got?
Oh God. Poot.
Ooh, Champ coming after Poot. I like it.
Poot, who are you going for?
I'm going to go for Ransom.
Damn it.
So
Well,
then Ransom gets me and I get Tom.
that leads me to the beef. Shit.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
That's the fun one, though, man. You're Ransom. The reason why I didn't pick beef is because I'm like, not because I'm picking on you, but because I went, Ransom's going to think up something awesome for beef.
It's
Well,
true.
I don't know. I feel like I'm being set up for failure. I I can't remember. It's been such a long time since we've done Hot Tag, but I feel like I haven't had really good luck against Beef. But you know what? I'm a fighting advocate, so I can't say fighting champ because good Lord knows it'll be a while before I ever see that belt again.
Samesies.
But I'm going to be a fighting advocate, and I'll do my best to give Beef a whopper.
Ooh, I like Whoppers. They're good.
It'll be an early WCW question, so strap in for that.
Beef, study up. All right. Hey, everyone.
Like WCCW.
Oh, my.
Oh, not the Wickwa. Thank you all very much for tuning into this episode of the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you even more if you subscribe to us on YouTube, hit the bell for notifications whenever we post our newest episodes, and you give us likes on our video. We really appreciate that, and like it a lot. Also, we like it if you would follow us on Facebook. That's Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. Also, on your favorite podcast app, whether it be Spotify, whether it be iTunes, whether it be Google Podcasts, or just over on good old Anchor, where everything is kind of sourced from for the audio versions of this podcast. We appreciate if you follow us and all of the other good things on those as well. I want to thank our sponsors again, Mr. Casual Gaming Dad, our very own Tiger.
Uppercut.
One more time because it cut out.
Uppercut.
There we go. That was a good one with salt on it. Tiger Bomb Tom and his page, Casual Gaming Dad, over on Facebook. He streams a lot of awesome stuff. On Tuesdays, we play Among Us. I wasn't here because I was busy rocking out, and it made me sad because this week was really, really good. Make sure you go follow him on Facebook, watch his streams, give him all the stars over there. He deserves them very much. And also make sure to subscribe to him on YouTube. You search for Casual Gaming Dad, and over on Twitch, that's Casual Gaming Dad 84. You wherever.
Step in here real quick, here, Poop.
Yes.
Hang on, gotta hydrate for this one. Ready?
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh.
Ooh. Yes. Ransom.
Among Us. If you enjoy some games, Tuesday nights, like Poop said, stop in on the Casual Gaming Dad Discord. I'm sure this coming Tuesday is going to be an Among Us to remember. The gay frogs will be put down. The New World Order will be stepping up. The Bilderberg Group will get their dues. Stay tuned.
Oh, it's going to be... What was that, Tom?
Canada.
Canada! Beef, it's your turn. and make sure, again, follow Casual Gaming Dad. He's wonderful. We also want to thank Mr. Sean Tischler. We're very excited to see indie wrestling slowly kind of coming back to normal, and we're excited for more shows. And we thank him for his work with IWC in the central Pennsylvania area. And also,
happy birthday, RC Dupree.
Ooh, happy
Speaking
birthday.
of IWC.
RC Dupree. Happy birthday. And I want to thank, of course, my co-hosts here. I want to thank Mr. Beef the Legend. I want to thank Mr. Alec Ransom. I want to thank our very own Chooserweight champion, Mr. Tiger.
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom. And, of course, from myself, Poot the Bard, baby. Have a wonderful evening. And before we go, I just want to tell you, Maniac, it's okay that you didn't get us again. And if you do retire, hopefully your hopes and dreams will go to a nice, wonderful place like North Carolina. Have a wonderful evening, night, day, whenever you watch this podcast. Or listen to it.
Time to poop.